Hello.
Hello?
I can hear you now. Sure. Well, I started writing. I think I was 26, so about 13 years ago, I suppose. I was an actor. I still am an actor, but my only focus it used to be acting, and I loved it. But I kind of wasn't getting the roles that I hoped I would get, and so I just tried writing a short play at uni, and sort of had some good response from that. And since then, I've had I suppose some really good opportunities to write plays, and um, it's gone from there. I've written about 40 plays, I think. Yeah, I've probably had maybe 35 of those staged, maybe a bit more. Um, mostly in Melbourne, just in small venues, independent venues in Melbourne. Yeah, well, actually, there was a production of "I Love You, Bro" on in New Zealand. It's still actually going on at the moment. So, I went over to Auckland to see it at Silo Theatre Company and had a really great time. It was my first ever overseas trip. So, um, it's pretty exciting to know that my plays are being done in all these places I've never been to before. So, So I've worked with a lot of young people in the past, a lot of young youth theatre companies and universities, and just generally a lot of independent theatre around Melbourne is mostly young people making it, I suppose. So I have often catered my plays. I've almost always written for the casts that are doing my work. I Love You, Bro is different. That was a different commission. But yeah, so I often do write for young people, but probably if a 14-year-old boy is the youngest I think I've written for, I guess. So yeah, but my plays are often very dark and deal with comic, funny, but deal with pretty dark adult stuff. So yeah, I don't usually have kids coming along to see them, I suppose. Well, that was actually a film company in Melbourne, a small film company. One of the producers found the story in Vanity Fair. Do you know the article in Vanity Fair? Uh, um, they came across this article, and I didn't know them. They were looking for a writer, and I'd just recently written a one-person show, a one-woman play, in the kind of style that they were looking for writing, and so they found me, they contacted me and asked if I'd be interested to write it. Um, and I was immediately struck, like I think everybody is, by how amazing the story is and how compelling it is. Horrible, but after I wrote that, and they wanted me to write they actually wanted me to write an audition piece for a young actor who was going to be in the film, and an audition piece that was going to challenge them, and a theatrical audition piece. So that's how the play came about. It was actually came about as an audition piece, but then after I wrote it, I found out that there's a Hollywood version of the movie being made, like of that story is being made by Brian Singer, the producer Brian Singer, who he's huge. He made Superman Returns, and he makes the TV series House, and all sorts of other things. And there's actually a film being shot of that story. Um, yeah, at the moment in England, I think. And but this was 2005 that I wrote this and that I found out, and so it's been in development that whole time. So maybe it's not happening. But as soon as I told the Melbourne people that film was being made, they got cold feet and decided not to go ahead with it anymore. So the project, I was just left with this script that nothing was happening with it, and so I thought, well, it is a piece of theatre, and eventually I had it put on for the 2007 Fringe Festival here in Melbourne. The first time I saw the play in the Fringe Festival, it was in a very small theatre, not much bigger than my bedroom, but sort of with maybe 50 people crammed into it. Um, I haven't actually experience probably the reaction that the audience had. Mostly people I didn't know. They were definitely on the edges of their seats the whole time. They couldn't believe what they were watching, and people did get quite emotionally upset by it. There were a couple of people during the season who literally kind of couldn't move from their seats for a while, and I thought, well, this is a powerful story. It's a powerful play, and yeah, the play, wherever it's been on, and it's always had really great reaction. I've been happy with how well it works because, written as it was as an audition piece that wasn't meant to be seen by an audience, I suppose. I had no idea it was good until it was first on. I went into. I actually felt really bad about it because I was going into chat rooms that were designed for teenagers in Northern England to go onto, because I really wanted to get a sense of the kind of world that it was, but I actually found it really scary to be in there because I was 30 in my. I was about 33, 34 when I wrote it, I think, and I felt like I shouldn't be there, and I was lurking and watching, and it was so I didn't actually spend that much time in those rooms. I just got a sense of it, and then did a lot of other research about internet language and all sorts of other things. But I mainly based. I mainly based everything that I was researching on the newspaper articles about the case and the things I could find on the web, and also I loved the link the boy makes in the Vanity Fair article between him and Romeo and Juliet. Well, I think he's actually addressing the audience. I think he's addressing the audience who were in the theatre with him then, but he's the thing that inspired the opening of the play was just what a showman he seemed to be. How completely not ashamed of his story he was. He had made himself some kind of superstar out of all of this happening, and so the first thing I pictured was a person at like an old-fashioned Victorian era carnival, the roll up, come and see the bearded lady kind of person, and that's a freak show, but a freak show that has beauty in it and life in it and color in it, and that's the sort of thing that I wanted Johnny to be making, and to be aware that he was making a kind of a freak show with truth and heart and beauty as well. I think the important thing is what Johnny perceives. I think John perceives him as this gullible dog who laps everything up, and that part of that, it makes him angry. It makes him think less of Mark, and I think part of him is actually wanting Mark to uncover him, to say to because that would save him if that happened in a way that would make the whole thing tumble, but it would. Maybe he's actually just really wanting Mark to do that. I want the play to work for whatever country it's being put on in, and not to be an Australian play or a story that happened in England, but it actually is happening all over the world. On one level, I think it's the want to be loved on one level, but I think on another level, it's just to see what happens next. What if I do this? What comes next? What comes next? What comes next? And I think it's just it's just so exciting in some ways. Like it makes him sick, but it's kind of like, if I do this, what if I do this? And it's just to see where he can go and how far he can go. And underneath all of it is wanting to be loved, and actually just wanting a friend and wanting this boy to know him. But I think with a lot of this manipulation that happens, it really is just it's like why people climb mountains, you know. I wasn't a popular kid. I didn't have very many friends. I had a brother. I've got a twin brother, and he was always the most popular kid in school. So that was, you know, I always measured myself against him. Um, I mean, I guess I do understand. My life is much different now, but I do understand feeling isolated. When you're that age, I do understand the kind of. I understand suicidal thoughts. I understand darkness and depression and wanting to be loved. So. I wasn't. I probably wasn't as devious or manipulating as Johnny is. Um, but maybe if I'd had access to the internet, I would have been. I don't know. Yeah, great. Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. See you later. Bye. Bye.